What's going on, guys? It's your boy Alvin here, back with another video. And so today we're going to be looking at different types of wealth in just 13 minutes. So without any further ado, let's react to it.
Extreme poverty. You're playing a video game for the first time with no skills, cheats, or equipment. Then it's set to ultra hard mode. That's what extreme poverty is like. You're living on less than $2.15 per day, less than what you'd spend on your favorite Starbucks drink. You can't even stretch the last dollar in your pocket to buy a decent meal. Being under the extreme poverty line doesn't mean you're always short online. Instead, it means no access to food, clean water, shelter, and healthcare. These are basically the luxuries in your life. Think about your average day. You wake up, eat breakfast, turn on the tap for clean water, and maybe even grab your phone to check the news. If you're in extreme poverty, each of these things would be a struggle, or you might not have access to them at all. The food they can afford might be minimal, lacking the nutrition needed to stay healthy. You're practically immune to water-based diseases with all the dirty water you drink, but if you do get ill,
So guys, they literally set us to like think about the way we live right now, all of the luxuries we have, and they literally don't have any of it. Even the fact that clean water and food is like a luxury to them, that just shows the state the people are in. Living in extreme poverty means it's just really unfortunate, and it's not like a few people are there. A lot of people, even millions and millions of people, are still in extreme poverty, especially less in Europe and America, but towards Africa and Asia it's more prevalent. And it just shows how unlucky it's just the way life is, and the only way you can try to escape from poverty is unless you get some external help. It's really hard to break free of extreme poverty from your own skills, because they are just not given the opportunity or the stage to showcase the skills.
healthcare isn't your vocabulary because you can't afford a visit to the doctor. You're basically in survival mode the entire time, making extreme poverty an uphill race against time. It's like being stuck at the bottom of a well with no ladder. Poverty. Poverty
Yeah, that's what I said. Like they said, it's stuck at a well without a ladder, so you can't just on your own get out of it. That's just really unfortunate, because I think from all the levels from here, there is a chance that you could do something on your own, or even luck might play a huge part. But in extreme poverty, it's just there is not very less the person can do on their own.
is like trying to win a game of Monopoly when you start with no money and no properties, and every time you pass go, you get a bill instead of $200. Insufficient resources struggle to meet basic needs like food, housing, healthcare, and education. Imagine a day when you must choose between paying for dinner or keeping the lights on. In practical terms, poverty means living on an income below a certain threshold, but that threshold varies depending on where you live. You may be poor when you're living on $35 a day in America, but you'll be pretty loaded with that money in most African countries.
So this also shows the disparity in economies of country and how much a role they play. I mean, $35 even in India or any South Asian countries is good enough to live. Not every South Asian country, but some of them. But meanwhile, in USA or in Switzerland, it wouldn't be even enough for a day's meal. So that just shows how much this country's economy also plays a huge part in it. The government, the laws they have, many things also factor in. Like the same amount of money means different to both people in these countries, so you can see the difference here. But in extreme poverty, it's just no matter where you're really poor. But poverty, you can see the difference in among these countries and continents even.
But the point is that being poor means it's a daily struggle to put food on the table or find ways to pay your bills. But being poor isn't about not having enough dollars in the bank. It could also affect your quality of life and leave you stuck in a cycle because you don't have access to things that could help you escape the poverty loop, like higher education or better resources. There's also the idea of relative poverty, when you might have enough money to survive, still you can't participate in social activities in the community because your income is relatively low. Imagine having enough money to go to school, eat well, and pay your bills, but not enough to buy a smartphone. So while your friends share memes, you're playing Snake on your ancient Nokia 3310. Basically, being poor means your opportunities, choices, and freedom are limited, even if you might be making enough money to survive. Lower middle class. Imagine the lower
I mean, this is one of the most common. Middle class is the people who usually participate in most community-based activities and all kind of those things, and most laws directly affect them as well. So in this way, I think most of us are should be part of middle class or lower middle class. So that is most of the people who are using YouTube, having phones, laptops of their own. So lower middle class is what we could relate to most.
Middle class as a group of folks who are comfortably above the poverty line, but not quite capable of putting a pool in the backyard anytime soon. If you're in this class, you're living in a decent neighborhood, maybe in a modest home or an apartment. Your car might be the most reliable Toyota, but not exactly a Lexus. Being in this class means you have a stable job, but not raking in the big bucks. You're hardworking, maybe in administration, teaching, or trades. Bringing in enough to cover the basics, like food, housing, and utilities, won't be too much of a problem. But you're not in a situation where you can splurge on a shopping spree every time your paycheck comes. In many ways, people in this class tend to live balanced lifestyles because they can save for college and unexpected emergencies, but can't overspend. Buying that new iPhone yearly can throw a wrench into your budgeting plans. It's the financial version of, I'm just fine here, don't worry about me. If you were to put it in gaming terms, the lower middle class are experts at min-maxing, which is when you make the most optimal choices with what you have. And if you play your cards right, you might have some wiggle room for that fancy steak dinner you always wanted to try.
Yeah, so this is what I was saying about, like, look at the difference. Now the more up, up in the scale you go, the more opportunity you have to keep increasing, right? The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. The same thing. The more up you go, the more chances you have to go even richer. While, from after middle classes, lower middle class level, I believe that every level has a chance to increase their wealth very fast. Like, they have the options, the opportunities to show their skills, while anything from lower middle class and lower, just very less chance for you to improve your situation.
Try. Middle class. If you were to rate the middle class on a scale from 1 to 10, they would be 5. They're, as the kids would say, mid. You would say they're the Goldilocks of social classes, not too rich or poor, but just right. What qualifies someone as middle class can vary depending on where you live, your country's economy, and even personal perceptions. Being middle class is often tied to income in many places, but it's not just about numbers. Sure, there's a general income range, typically earning enough to cover your basic needs like housing, healthcare, and education, but with a little left over for comforts like vacations, dining out, or upgrading your smartphone without feeling too guilty. But it's also about lifestyle. Think of it as having enough to buy a new phone once every 2 years, but not enough to splurge on luxury brands weekly.
Yeah, that is also the thing. You can't say you're middle class if you're, continuously updating your tech, buying new dresses. I don't think that's middle class. Middle class means, like, you can spend on luxury, but not every, like, year or something. Once a 2 year, you could take a vacation, enjoy yourself. And but it doesn't mean you can do it each yearly. If you're doing it each year, like a vacation every year, a new phone every year, that's not middle class in my opinion. And middle class sometimes in African countries can mean poverty in America, like they said before. So it really depends on the government and how much things cost in each country. The same thing doesn't cost everywhere, like same, like the water bottle here may cost just 25 cents or something in dollars.
If you're in the middle class, you tend to have a more stable job, like teachers, nurses, or office workers, compared to lower income jobs that might be more physically demanding or less secure. But you don't enjoy the financial freedom that lets you retire early. You can't also take unnecessary risks, like funding a wild business that could fail and turn you into a bottom feeder. It's a comfortable space where you're not stressing over every bill, but are still aware that spending too much could land you back on instant ramen noodle dinners for a while. Upper middle class. Being in the upper middle class means you're not in the cramped economy section of an airplane, but you can't afford the luxurious first class seats as well. You're right in the middle, where you can afford enough room to stretch your legs, but not enough to have free-flowing champagne. This group has a good handle on their finances and lives a pretty nice life. If you're in this class, you'd have a stable and well-paying job, like a senior manager, a specialized professional, or a successful business owner. You can earn a decent salary to live comfortably in a nice neighborhood, send your kids to good schools, and take vacations. Education is also important because you wouldn't be where you are.
I mean, upper middle class people really have like their kids. So if you're, your parents are like upper middle class, you have the most opportunity to be really rich from a young age, just because you have the financial backing as well as the opportunity to really improve your skills. So being in upper middle class, you should be feel blessed and should be thankful for it. And I mean, upper middle class people really are on the edge of being really rich, and it could easily be crossed over. It doesn't take like a much, huge push or something, just a little bit push, and they could really be in that rich kind of category very fast.
If you didn't get straight A's in high school and went to an Ivy League school. In most cases, you'd probably follow the lifestyle of the rich and famous because you have a premium gym membership or play golf at an exclusive country club, but you're not.
I'm not sure about, living a rich and famous lifestyle with an upper middle class income. I mean, you could still splurge money. Like I said, now you could take weekly, like yearly vacations and buy a new furniture. But the rich and famous lifestyle is on a a whole another level. And I don't think playing golf means you are part of upper middle class. That's like it's like a perception, like a fake perception. Unless you're really rich, I don't think playing golf is like a cool thing. Not it upper middle class, anyways.
Exactly flying in private jets or driving luxury cars. You're scratching the surface of what it means to be rich, but you're not there yet. But being in the upper middle class can be like having the best of both worlds because you enjoy luxuries without going overboard with your spending habits. You limit your extravagance, even if you might be living a good life. It's like drinking the finest bottle of wine, but still having one eye open on the next grocery store sale. Affluent. When you hear someone calling themselves affluent, you might want to picture a sunlit room with comfy furniture, fine art on the walls, and maybe even a grand piano in the corner. That's the lifestyle of someone with more than enough money to live comfortably while enjoying the finer things in life. But they're not exactly rolling in dough. If you're affluent, you can meet all your needs and luxuries while having a good level of financial security. It's not always about having a big bank account, though that's part of being.
So it's basically like about $1 million a year, a kind of income. I think from affluent means you're way above upper middle class, right? So if I'm not mistaken, means about $1 million a year. That should really be enough for most people to live very comfortable lives. You're secure for the future. You could spend a lot of money enjoying yourself, or spending things on unnecessary things basically, but still you could enjoy yourself a lot with this amount of wealth. Anything from a level above affluent means you're we are really into the rich category, and now you have a lot of excess money that most people would be very needful or want to have.
Affluent, but it's more about where having enough money meets a good lifestyle, where you have a nice home in a good neighborhood, regular vacations, and dining out at a fancy restaurant every weekend, where the waitstaff already knows your name and they might even recognize your order before you say it. You can even invest in things like
I mean, you could be poor and still have the waiter know your name if you're close with them. I mean, sometimes we order from the same restaurant, they probably know our name. I don't think you need to be affluent for that.
art, high end technology, or a second property without digging into your bank account. Your wealth gives you choices and flexibility, even though you won't find your name on the Forbes list of rich guys anytime soon. Being affluent also means having a good grasp of financial management, often with investments and
I mean, this is something every one of us must know, because to be rich, you must know very well to manage money. I mean, I'm not expert at it or anything, but I think most rich people know very well how to manage their money, and the correct time when and when not to spend it. So it's a really good skill to have.
savings that grow over time. You might also have access to high quality education and healthcare, contributing to a comfortable and secure lifestyle. Essentially, being at this level of wealth means having a financial cushion that you can sleep nicely on without worrying about losing your job or the inflation rate going up. You're not exactly swimming in gold coins like Scrooge McDuck, but you're comfortably floating in a
I mean, I once saw some kind of a reel or something about McDowell having some kind of net worth about $13 trillion from the scene where he jumps in gold coins, adjusted to our current gold rate, and that's just such a crazy amount to be like just imagining having $30 trillion.
pool of financial security, upper affluent. Imagine that you've made it past the basics of financial comfort and living in a realm where the term financial cushion feels more like a luxury mattress. That's what it means to be a member of the upper affluent class. Being at this wealth level means that you have a solid financial foundation that allows you to enjoy many perks without constantly checking the price tag. Your income is significantly higher than average, so you can
I wish they would say what income would be considered upper affluent or like affluent. I'm not sure about, what's the comparison being made. If they specified that, that would be really nice.
afford more than essentials. We're discussing things like upscale vacations, high end cars, and maybe even a second or third property. Having pocket change also means being able to buy a car when someone dares you to. But it's not just about the big ticket items. This wealth also
I mean, like that, people wouldn't, wise people or like probably rich people wouldn't just buy a car because you dared them to, unless they're like billionaires or something. That's what wise money management means. You wouldn't simply splash your money to show it, unless your job or field specifically requires you to. So that just shows how people manage their money. Most upper affluent or affluent people wouldn't even flash their money like gold chains or something. They would probably keep it more hidden and live a more secured, silent lifestyle rather than just flashy lifestyle. That's a celebrity lifestyle we are thinking about here.
Also means you can invest in experiences that enrich your life, like gourmet dining, exclusive events, and high quality leisure activities. You might also have a financial advisor to help manage and make the most of your wealth because you can afford to
So now I'm thinking something about 10 million plus, because to have a person just for you to, manage your funds means some serious income, need to come.
hire someone to do the math for you. Socially, being upper affluent often places you in a circle with other high earners where discussions might revolve around investments, luxury brands, and maybe even philanthropy. It's a lifestyle where you're not just making ends meet, but actively enjoying the finer things and planning for the future. You're at the sweet spot where you can enjoy financial stability while indulging in your hobbies and having enough freedom and flexibility to do what you want without worrying about the future. It's like you found the golden ticket to the financial amusement park, where you can simply skip the long lines and enjoy the ride. Millionaire. Being a millionaire means you've hit the $1 million
Oh, so upper affluent refers to something about 500,000 to 600,000. Oh my God. I was thinking about like, you know, 10 to 20 million. Let me see.
mark in net worth. This means that all your assets minus your liabilities are worth $1 million. Think of it as having a giant piggy bank worth 7 figures. In practical terms, this could
So anyone with $700,000 a year income would have that many perks. I mean, yeah, probably, yeah, but okay.
mean having a mix of assets like a big house, investments in stocks or real estate, and maybe even a yacht if you're feeling fancy. You're likely able to live comfortably without